Hi, this is Brett with TestingTheory.com, and today we're going to talk about a key factor in building a culture of experimentation and the main question you need to answer if you want to achieve a culture of experimentation. Because this key question is at the heart of building a culture of experimentation, there are many issues with it. Some people disagree on how you should answer it. Some don't even like the question. The way you answer the question can sabotage your efforts in building a culture of experimentation, or it can be your unspoken rally cry, or both. The question is simply this: should everything be tested? Now, to answer this question, I want to talk about two schools of thoughts. There is the realist and there is the purist. Now, the realist in me knows that not everything can be tested. There are times that the business simply has to move forward. There are times you don't have enough resources to test everything because it takes time to develop, to design, to create variations for the experiences. Some things are time sensitive. And so the realist understands that not everything can be tested, but you have to be careful. Because if that's the only point of view that you take, that it's okay not to test everything, then you potentially put yourself in harm's way of hurting your culture of experimentation. From the standpoint of a purist, testing, you would say that everything has to be tested. The purist wants every digital change to be tested. And the main reason why this is important is because when you have a commitment to test everything, that shapes your culture of optimization. The culture inside the company, inside the business that says, should this be tested, yes or no? The biggest challenge with taking the realist view of testing, where you just test what you can or what you want to test, is this factor of where do you draw the line? When do you say that something should be tested and something shouldn't be tested? Now, I realize there's resource constraints you can evaluate, and there's maybe strategies that you can evaluate. Some things are more important than other things. But the core problem with the realist approach of testing, where you just test what you want to test, is that there's no clear line, there's no clear boundary. That leaves a lot of uncertainty in the organization, and it leads people to be prone to suggest that things don't get tested. When you have the standard practice of saying some things are tested and some things aren't tested, what you have is you have to evaluate that decision with every idea. So you have people and the business trying to evaluate, should we test something? And more often than not, it's easiest to not test something because then you can rely on your opinion, your guess, your gut. And so by having a practice of not testing everything, you automatically default to the easier route of allowing opinion-based decisions to drive the organization. Do we really want to go down that path of allowing non-database decisions to drive the organization? I would say no. And that's where the purest view of everything should be tested is really the best way to build a culture of optimization. But while it's easier to say that everything should be tested and that we're going to make all decisions based on data, there are some gotchas with this approach that you need to be aware of. If you know that you're going to test everything, then you have to commit to the time and effort and energy that it takes to do that testing. And there are some people in the organization who will say that they don't want to do testing because it takes more time, it takes more effort, and it takes more energy. And so if you are the person that tests everything, they may try to avoid you altogether so that they don't have to test everything and then go around and use their opinion and faster decision-making skills as opposed to actually going through the disciplined process of testing something. Another gotcha you have to be careful of is there are some who may think that you don't understand the business. If the business needs to do something quickly or needs to move in a certain direction because there are certain needs, then they may think that if you want to stall that business decision moving forward by making them go through a test, that you don't understand the business. And again, the outcome of this is that people will avoid going to you in the first place. They'll avoid doing the testing because they'll know that you're going to slow them down or cause problems for them in getting what they want to accomplish. And the pretext there is that you don't understand the business. So these are a couple of gotchas you have to be aware of. The philosophy and the purest way of testing everything is the best way to build a culture of experimentation because it takes away the guesswork. It takes away the uncertainty of when something should be tested or something shouldn't be tested. The challenge, though, is you have to be careful that people may perceive that approach as being too strict, too rigid, and they may want to go around you or avoid testing altogether so they can do what they want because they have a perception of it being faster. So what do you do? How do you work with people's perceptions while keeping the purest view of testing where you test everything? The reality is that you're going to have to figure out what that looks like in your organization and with the people you work with. One of the best things you can do to avoid this conundrum of making sure you're testing everything, but making sure the organization, the people in the organization feel like you're supporting them and not holding them back, is to make sure they see the value in the data that you're bringing with every test you run. Make sure they see that when there are losing experiences, that save the organization from making a big mistake. And make sure when they see the winning experiences, they see the annual impact and the long-term value and long-term gain of those positive experiences. Really, the way you overcome the problems with trying to test everything and the people in the organization who don't want to is to help them see that a data-driven approach and the value that can bring will help them make better decisions in the long run. Help them see that by going faster in the wrong direction, it doesn't give them a better product or a better outcome. It just puts them farther down the path of the direction they don't want to go. Going faster in the wrong direction is still going the wrong direction. So in summary, to build a culture of optimization and experimentation, you really want the culture to want to test everything. You want them to feel that they don't have to make that decision every time that an idea comes up, that they just know it's going to be tested. To get to that point though, you really have to work with the people in training them, in teaching them, and helping them see the value of testing and the data-driven approach that it is, and making sure that they see that the time and effort to test isn't a negative thing because it gives them a better output in the long run. So train your teams, train the people you work with, train the executives in your company, make sure they understand the value and benefit of testing, and help them see that to truly create this culture of optimization, they definitely need to test everything. So should everything be tested? Absolutely. Thanks for joining me. I hope you found this useful. If you did, please give me that thumbs up. You can also visit me at testingtheory.com, where you can see the other trainings and videos I've done, and where you can get your own course that helps you learn the principles and theories of good A/B testing, optimization, and conversion rate optimization.